Hey, it's Muna. Revenge Diary secret stories you won't forget. Subscribe if you're ready. Let's begin. Mom stood on my front porch like she owned it. Dad beside her with that smug expression I'd seen my entire life. The September sun caught the new house numbers I'd installed last month. Brushed nickel expensive mine. I'm sorry. What? I set down my grocery bags on the entry table. Organic produce from the farmer's market. The Saturday morning routine I'd built in the home I'd saved 7 years to. Bye. Don't make this difficult, Vanessa. Dad stepped inside without being invited, tracking mud across the cream wool rug in my foyer. The rug I'd spent 2 months researching, comparing thread counts and dye processes. Marcus needs this space. His wife is pregnant again, and that apartment isn't suitable for 3 kids. My brother Marcus, aged 29 to my 31, currently on his 4th business venture and 2nd marriage, living in a rent-subsidized apartment because he'd blown through his last startup loan on cryptocurrency and a boat he docked twice. This is my house. I kept my voice level even as my pulse hammered against my wrists. I bought it. My name is on the mortgage. Mom's laugh was sharp, dismissive. Oh, honey, this is the family house. We helped you with the down payment, remember? I did remember. I remembered asking for a loan of $20,000, money I'd planned to pay back within 2 years. I remember Dad saying no that I was throwing money away on an overpriced neighborhood. I remember taking every extra shift at the hospital where I worked as a surgical coordinator, saving every dollar, living in a studio apartment with a Murphy bed until I was 30. I remembered the day I closed on this house, texting them the good news. Dad's response, hope you know what you're doing. Mom seems impractical for someone who works so much. And oh, congratulations, no pride, no acknowledgement that their daughter, one who'd paid her own way through college, who'd never asked them for car insurance money or rent help, had just bought a $950,000 home in one of the best school districts in the county. You didn't help me. My hands were steady now, the initial shock crystallizing into something colder. I saved $180,000 for the down payment alone. We gave you that $20,000 Christmas check 2 years ago, Dad said. He was examining my built-in bookshelves now, running his finger along the spine of my medical reference library. That was seed money. The Christmas check, the one that came with a card reading. Since you never spend time with family anymore, at least take a vacation. The one I deposited and then spent on textbooks for my medical coding certification because I'd known better than to go to Cabo. That was a gift, not a down payment contribution. I pulled out my phone, fingers moving to my attorney's contact. Jessica Young, real estate law specialist, the woman who'd handled my closing and who'd become something of a friend during the 17 times my offer had been rejected before this house accepted. What are you doing? Mom's voice sharpened, calling my lawyer. Don't be dramatic. Dad turned from the bookshelves, and there it was, the expression that had defined my childhood. Disappointment mixed with condescension, like I was a puzzle he'd given up trying to solve. Marcus kids need stability. You're single. You work 60 hours a week. What do you need 4 bedrooms for? Because I earned them. The thought burned behind my teeth, but I didn't say it. I'd learned years ago that defending yourself to people who'd already decided you were selfish was like arguing with a mirror. Jessica answered on the 2nd ring. Vanessa, everything okay? Can you come to my house? No. And bring my closing documents. What's going on? My parents are trying to give my house to my brother. Silence. Then I'm 12 minutes away. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. I hung up. Mom and Dad were staring at me like I'd just announced I was joining a cult, or calling an attorney. Mom's face had gone red, splotchy over family. Marcus will be here Tuesday with the moving truck, Dad said as if I hadn't just made a phone call that clearly indicated this wasn't happening. We've already promised him his lease is up. Be reasonable. Reasonable? That word had followed me through every family dinner, every holiday, every moment when I dared to have boundaries. Be reasonable, Vanessa. Let Marcus borrow your car. He needs it more. Be reasonable. Cover the restaurant bill. You make more money. Be reasonable. Skip your work conference and help with the family reunion. I'd been reasonable for 31 years. Jessica will be here in 10 minutes. I said, you can wait or leave. Either way, no one is moving into my house. They waited. Of course they waited. Dad settled onto my gray velvet sofa, the one I'd saved 3 months for, like he was owed it. Mom paced, muttering about ungrateful children. And what will Marcus do now? Neither of them asked what I would do if I gave up the house I'd bled for. Jessica arrived in exactly 11 minutes, carrying a leather portfolio and wearing the expression of someone who dealt with difficult clients before. She was 42, sharpied with gray streaks in her black hair that she told me she'd earned dealing with entitled relatives who thought property law was negotiable. Mr. and Mrs. Chin, she said, though she'd never met them. Professional courtesy, nothing more. I'm Jessica Chin, Vanessa's real estate attorney. This is a family matter, Dad said. Not a legal one. Actually, sir, property ownership is always a legal matter. Jessica opened her portfolio, pulling out a document I recognized. Thick paper county seal, my signature in blue ink at the bottom. This is the deed to 1847, Maple Ridge Drive. Recorded with the county on March 15, 2024. Sole owner, Vanessa Marie Hartwell. She laid it on the coffee table between us. Yow, Jessica's voice could have cut glass. Can someone explain to me why you believe you have any authority to transfer ownership of property that belongs entirely to my client? The silence was profound. Mom recovered first. Were her parents? We contributed too. I have the closing statement here as well. Jessica pulled out another document. Down payment $180,000 verified as coming from Vanessa's personal savings account traceable through 7 years of bank statements. Additional funds zero from family contributions. Mortgage holder Vanessa Hartwell. Deed holder Vanessa Hartwell. Insurance policy holder Vanessa Hartwell. She looked up. What exactly did you contribute? Dad's face had gone from ruddy to pale. There was a Christmas gift, $20,000 2 years ago, given as a holiday gift with no loan documentation, no promissory note, no indication of repayment terms or property interest. Jessica's smile was professional ice. In property law, that's called a gift. Gifts don't confer ownership rights. This is ridiculous, Dad stood. You're twisting this into something legal when it's about family. Sir, I need to be very clear. Jessica didn't stand, which somehow made her more imposing. What you've described, entering someone's home and demanding they vacate property they legally own, could be interpreted as attempted fraud or coercion. In Washington state, that's a criminal matter, not a civil one. Mom made a sound like she'd been slapped. Criminal? We're her parents, which makes it worse legally speaking. Jessica glanced at me and I saw something like respect in her eyes. The courts take a very dim view of family members exploiting their relationship to commit property fraud. We're not committing fraud. Dad's voice had climbed an octave. We just think you think a house your daughter owns should be given to your son. Jessica closed her portfolio without her consent, without compensation, without legal transfer. That's not thinking, Mr. Hartwell. That's wishful delusion. They left. Dad first storming out to the car. Mom lingered at the door, her face crumpling. In that way it had when I was 16, and refused to drop out of the science fair to babysit Marcus during his difficult phase. You've changed, she said. You used to care about family. I still do. I held the door, waiting for her to leave. just not more than I care about myself anymore. After they were gone, Jessica sat with me in the living room, her professional mask sliding into something gentler. "How long?" she asked. "How long what? How long have they been doing this?" I thought about it. Really thought about it, tracing the pattern backward through years of small concessions and large sacrifices. "Always," I said finally. "Just smaller things before. My car when Marcus crashed his. My college fund when he needed startup capital, my apartment when he needed a place to stay after his first divorce." Jessica nodded slowly. "You know what this is called, right? In family therapy." I didn't. Financial scapegoating. One child becomes the family's resource pool. The bank everyone else withdraws from but never deposits into. He pulled out a business card, not hers. "This is my therapist. She specializes in family systems. You might want to talk to someone." I took the card. "Dr. Sarah Vance, Family Systems Therapy." "Thank you," I said, "for coming so fast, Vanessa." Jessica's voice was serious. "Now, change your locks tonight." I'm not joking. People who feel entitled to someone else's property don't stop at the first no. He was right. Tuesday morning, I woke to the sound of a truck in my driveway. Through my bedroom window, I saw a U-Haul Marcus in the driver's seat, his wife Stephanie beside him. Behind them, my parents' car. I called the police before I even got out of bed. By the time I'd pulled on jeans and a sweater, there was pounding at my door. Marcus' voice irritated. "Vanessa, open up. We've got furniture to unload." I opened the door exactly as the police cruiser pulled up to the curb. Officer Ramirez had responded to calls in this neighborhood before. Mostly noise complaints and the occasional break-in. He was mid-40s, tired-eyed, but thorough. "Morning," he said, taking in the scene. Me in my doorway. Marcus on my porch. The loaded U-Haul. My parents getting out of their car. "Someone want to tell me what's going on? Family misunderstanding?" Dad said quickly. "Just helping our son move into a house he doesn't own." I interrupted. "Officer, I'm the sole owner of this property. I've never given permission for anyone to move in. I've asked them to leave. They're refusing." Marcus' face went red. "That's not Vanessa. Stop being insane. Do you have documentation showing ownership?" Officer Ramirez asked me. I handed him my phone already pulled up to the county assessor's website. My name, my address, public record. "And you?" He looked at Marcus. "Do you have any legal right to this property?" "It's a family arrangement." "That's a no." Ramirez's voice went flat. "Professional. Sir, you need to leave the property now. This is Marcus wheeled on me. After everything we've done for you." "Like what?" The question came out before I could stop it. 31 years of silence breaking in 2 words. "Name one thing you've done for me." 1. Marcus opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing came out. That's what I thought. I looked at my parents standing by their car like witnesses at an accident. "You've spent my whole life treating me like the family at him." "I'm done, Vanessa," Mom started. "No." The word felt like opening a window in a suffocating room. "You don't get to rewrite this. I bought this house with money I saved. Money I earned working 60-hour weeks while Marcus was finding himself. I don't owe you access to my home. I don't owe him my space. I don't owe any of you anything anymore." Officer Ramirez cleared his throat. "Folks, I'm going to need you to vacate the property. If you refuse, I'll have to cite you for trespassing." They left. Marcus peeling out in the U-Haul. Stephanie crying in the passenger seat. My parents following. Dad's face like stone. Mom's crumpling into the guilt trip expression that had worked on me for decades. It didn't work anymore. The call started that afternoon. Marcus first screaming about how I'd ruined his life. Then Mom crying about how I was tearing the family apart. Then Dad cold and cutting, "Don't bother coming to Thanksgiving. You're not welcome." I blocked their numbers at 9 p.m. The silence was startling, like stepping out of a loud restaurant into night air. The absence of noise almost physical. I sat in my living room, and cried. Not from sadness, from relief, from the sheer exhausting weight of 31 years of being reasonable. Finally lifting off my shoulders. Jessica checked in the next day. "You okay?" "I think so," I said. "They're blocked. The locks are changed. My security cameras caught Marcus trying the back door last night." "Save that footage," Jessica said immediately. "If this escalates, you'll need documentation." It didn't escalate. Or rather, it escalated in a different direction. 2 weeks later, Marcus called from Stephanie's phone. I hadn't blocked her number. The message was frantic, desperate. "Vanessa, please. Dad co-signed my business loan and he's threatening to call it in if I don't get his money back from you. Please call me back." I deleted it without listening to the end. 3 weeks after that, Mom called from a friend's phone. "Your father is having health problems. If something happens to him and you didn't reconcile, you'll regret it forever." I hung up. Then I called Dad's doctor. I still had his information from when I'd helped coordinate his knee surgery 2 years ago. Dr. Patterson was cautious but clear. "Your father is in excellent health. Vanessa, last checkup was 2 days ago. Perfect blood work." The manipulation was almost funny. Almost. 4 months later, I got a different kind of call. "Miss Hartwell, this is Detective Morrison with the King County Fraud Division." My stomach dropped. "Yes, we're investigating a loan fraud case involving your brother, Marcus Hartwell. Your name appeared in some of the documentation. Can you come in to answer some questions?" I went in the next day with Jessica beside me. The story came out in pieces. Marcus had been listing my house as collateral on business loans, forging documents showing joint ownership, using the property value to secure $300,000 in fraudulent loans over the past 2 years, including one approved just 3 weeks ago. "Were you aware of any of this?" Detective Morrison asked. No, my voice was hollow. I had no idea. "The lenders are pursuing criminal charges," Morrison said. "Wire fraud, forgery, loan fraud. If convicted, he's looking at 5 to 7 years federal prison time." Jessica's hand found mine under the table. "What do you need from me?" I asked. "Your testimony that you never gave permission, never signed documents, never agreed to use your property as collateral. You have it." The trial was 6 months later. I testified for 40 minutes. Jessica beside me in the witness box as my attorney. Described the day my parents tried to give Marcus my house. The U-Haul, the police report, the forged loan documents with my signature, a signature that looked nothing like mine, according to the forensic handwriting expert. Marcus sat at the defense table in a suit I knew he'd borrowed, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Stephanie wasn't there, she'd filed for divorce 3 months prior. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. 7 years federal prison, $300,000 in restitution, permanent felony record. Mom collapsed in the gallery. Dad sat like stone staring at nothing. I felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just the quiet certainty of boundaries finally irrevocably enforced. 1 year after that first Sunday, I had dinner with Jessica at the bistro downtown we'd started frequenting. Good wine, better conversation, the easy comfort of friendship earned through crisis. "Heard from them?" she asked. "Mom texts from new number sometimes." I said, "Always the same message. Please call." We need to talk. Family is forever. I don't respond. And Marcus, 3 years into his sentence, appealed twice. Denied both times. Jessica raised her wine glass. To boundaries, I echoed. My house was exactly as I'd left it that morning. Clean, quiet mine. The guest room I'd been planning to convert into a home gym was now fully equipped. The garden I'd started was thriving. Tomatoes ripening on vines I'd planted myself. I'd gotten a promotion at work. Started dating someone I'd met at a medical conference. Adopted a rescue dog who slept at the foot of my bed and had never once asked me to be reasonable. 3 months ago, my aunt, Dad's sister, who I'd barely known, reached out. I heard what happened, she wrote. Your father did the same thing to me 20 years ago. Tried to take my inheritance from Marcus. I went no contact then. I'm sorry I wasn't there to warn you. We'd had coffee twice since. She was kind, boundaries respecting, the kind of family I'd thought didn't exist in my gene pool. You know what Marcus told the judge at sentencing? I said to Jessica, now, what? That none of this would have happened if I'd just been reasonable? I smiled and it was real, untainted by bitterness. That it was my fault for not understanding family comes first. Jessica made a disgusted sound. Did the judge respond? She said, Mr. Hartwell, family doesn't come before the law, and apparently it didn't come before your greed either. 7 years. We clinked glasses again. I drove home to my house. The one with my name on the deed, my furniture in the rooms, my life in every corner. The security cameras I'd installed showed nothing but an empty driveway exactly as it should be. I'd spent 31 years being told that putting myself first was selfish, that boundaries were cruelty, that family meant infinite forgiveness and eternal access to whatever they needed from me. I'd spent 1 year learning that family meant respecting the word no, that love didn't require self-destruction, that the people who truly cared about you didn't show up with a U-Haul to take what you'd earned. My parents still didn't understand. Maybe they never would, but I understood. Finally, completely, I understood. The house was quiet as I locked the door behind me. New locks, new keys, new boundaries. My dog greeted me with enthusiasm uncomplicated by expectation. The life I'd built waited in every room, solid and real, and entirely beautifully mine. I'd been reasonable for long enough.